Ladies and gentlemen, on this, the 11th day of the 11th month, as we approach the 11th hour, I'd like you to join with Lieutenant Colonel Ron Swalling, United States Army, retired, in the singing of our two national anthems. Thank you, Ron, and thank you, Anthony, for your accompaniment. Commissioner Bill Mersing, who, as we know, is a stalwart of this community. A lot of people don't know that he was also a sergeant in the Royal Netherlands Army and trained as a forward observer. And one of the things that will get you to Google when you get home is forward observer. You'll find that it was only the best and the brightest that were trained for that position. And I can't help but think that Commissioner Mersing uses some of that training even today in his efforts to make this community what it really is. Commissioner Mersing.
Always so kind, aren't you? I would like to welcome all of you here on behalf of Fire Chief Chief Falcon, his beautiful new wife, Pamela. They just got married a couple of days ago. Chief Shields in the back, and all his crew members here. It's really an honor to be here and look at you all. Most of you, if not all, have relations to the military, either personal or friends or families. It is a relationship to war conflict, political action that is quite different than normal life. Myself, I've never seen direct action. I was in the peacetime army. We did a lot of training in Holland and in Germany, which was pretty well the height of the Cold War in the 60s. I've seen the results of, as a young man, looking in from the outside. I've seen bombed out Berlin. I've been through Checkpoint Charlie, which was the main thoroughfare and entry into East Berlin from West Berlin. I've seen the Vorpost, the Volkspolizei, guarding the Berlin Wall. I've seen the no-man zone with the German shepherds guarding about 100 feet wide wall, where if you had the guts to climb over that first barbed wire, you were torn apart either by mines or the dogs. And that Berlin Wall didn't only go through Berlin, it's only called the Berlin Wall because that's the most visible part of it. But it stretched for about 800 miles, all the way into, or close to Austria in the south, all the way north to the East Sea, the Baltic Sea. I've also seen, again, looking in from the outside at my young age, the results of the bombing in Rotterdam. I've seen bombed out streets that even in my time, in the early 60s, there were still a lot of homes unoccupied, empty, because the Jewish population had simply disappeared. And my parents talked a lot about that too. My father never talked much about the war, like most people that are veterans don't really want to talk about their experiences. But today is a sad day, and today is also a happy day. It's sad because of the past. It's happy because we are here to remember all this and to make sure that those who serve, active or non-active, Marines, Navy, Air Force, Coast Guard, that they all are remembered for what they did and for what they gave. It's something that is hard to experience, difficult to experience, and has a lasting effect on a person's mind, sometimes the body too. Today is 98 years ago that World War I ended, was signed, the armistice was signed in a train wagon near Paris. World War II ended 70 and a half years ago. Victory Europe, VE Day, this is about 70 and a half years ago, and VJ Day, when MacArthur signed the armistice, took a little longer. Then we have Korea. Korea is now 60 years, about 60 years ago, and we're technically still at war with we're still at war between North and South Korea. And we stare at each other along the 38 parallel. There's many videos about it. You should watch it one day, and it's quite something to see that. Vietnam, by the way, at the end of Korea, conventional warmongering basically stopped. When you go into Vietnam, into the Vietnam era in, technically speaking, 1964, maybe a bit earlier than that, started to get a little murky down there. Conventional wars are basically over. It became more like a guerrilla warfare organization, and of course, after that, now we have Iraq, and we have Afghanistan, still ongoing, and who knows when it will ever end. I remember, it was the year 2002, with President Bush standing in full glory on one of our aircraft carriers, and there was a big banner behind him, and it said "Mission Accomplished." Ironically, less than 2 years later, we were basically at full war in Fallujah and a few other places. And we pulled out, we left weapons behind, and guess who's using them now? Afghanistan is about the same thing. Ron Smalling, retired Lieutenant Colonel, active in Vietnam, he was kind enough to bring the POW MIA flag. Because that's something that we should never forget. There are still approximately 1,500, 2,000 MIAs left from the Vietnam era. I don't think there's any left from Iraq or Afghanistan, but there are plenty dead there. Close to 5,000 people have died. 5,000 soldiers have died, male and female, all ranks, during the last 10, 12 years. All those 5,000 people that died, there's probably about 50,000, if not more, that are wounded, physically wounded. There's probably many times that are mentally wounded. Those people need attention. Those people should never be forgotten. There are very hospitals around America. We think that they're being looked after adequately. I don't think so personally. I think there's a lot more to be done there. And the Veterans Administration is, in my opinion, sadly lacking in that regard. Like I said, this is a happy day. Let's remember it to be a happy day because we cannot forget. We can never forget what happened in the past. And we can also hope that our administrators in Washington will not just say because of their political agenda that they decide to go elsewhere and try to win over the minds and hearts of other people, because that is the most difficult thing. It's very easy to kill people, but winning the minds and hearts is an almost impossible job. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Mercy. On behalf of Fire Chief Carlton, Assistant Chief Shields, John has got a very personal interest in this today because his son is serving in Fort Bliss as we speak.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to thank all of you for showing up for our second Memorial Weekend. My son has actually been in the military. He's actually been in Iraq. He's actually been to Afghanistan. I've never seen actual action. I've seen photos that he sent me, and they're really scary. He's just got married recently. Just had a wonderful son named John. He didn't he disowned. That's where our family works. And his wife is actually in the military too. She's in logistics. He's in the 1st Armored Cavalry. So as he puts it to me, my excitement is going up and blowing things up. Because he never got to do that all his life when he was with me. So once he got into the military, he said, that's my first thing, is to serve the country, to have fun at it too, and come back safe to my family and everybody. This is just to be short. I was dropped on me at 7:15 this morning because the chief had to work. So I didn't have time to prepare, so that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Shields. it's now our privilege to have Heather Jones, a Canadian who lives part-time here in Point Roberts, and a Gold Cord Girl Guide back in the day. Heather?
In Flanders fields, the poppies blow between the crosses, row on row, that mark our place, and in the sky the larks, still bravely singing, fly, scarce heard amid the guns below. We are the dead, short days ago, we lived, felt dawn, saw sunset glow, loved and were loved, and now we lie in Flanders fields. Take up our quarrel with the foe. To you from failing hands we throw the torch. Be yours to hold it high. If you break the faith with those who die, we shall not sleep, though poppies grow in Flanders fields.
Thank you very much, Heather. We come together here today in Point Roberts, Canadians and Americans, together in unity and with gratitude for the sailors, soldiers, air crews, and merchant mariners and all of their sacrifices. Since 1919, our two great nations have kept this day to remember our fallen warriors. Today we recognize the men and women of our military who gave the ultimate sacrifice. Today we also recognize the men and women of our military who play other roles, including peacekeeping and assistance in disaster zones and trouble spots worldwide. We are very fortunate and honored to have amongst us today some veterans, World War II, Vietnam, and Korea, and also an Iraqi veteran. We're very honored to have those folks here today. There are also veterans here today who trained and ready, but were not called to arms, and we appreciate their service very much. On Remembrance Day, we honor the men and women and the sacrifices they have made, particularly in their efforts to bring freedom and hope to less fortunate people in war-torn nations. We remember and pay tribute to our warriors who never returned. We remember and pay tribute to our warriors who returned, but with injuries, both physical and psychological. We remember and pay tribute today to our military personnel, men and women, who are working this very day, both at home and abroad. And we remember and pay tribute to our veterans who are with us here today. We're going to, at this time, observe 1 minute of silence. Stand if you like. We remember our fallen warriors at this time. Thank you very much. That was our own Marilyn Turner on the trumpet. We also like to thank Esther Rosenthal for her musical accompaniment once again. We'd also like to invite everyone to stay for sandwiches and coffee prepared by several of our ladies. And the microphone is going to be open, so if anyone has anything they want to say, just come up, tap, okay to tap on the mic. So, tap on the mic, and we'll stop talking and drink some coffee for a moment and listen to anyone if they have something they'd like to say. Thank you very much. It'll just take us a moment or so to get the food and coffee up.